I saw that Diddy Hotel hallway beatdown he did on Cassie at the elevator video, courtesy of CNN, from a March 2016 stay. I'm fucking disgusted. Alright, you white motherfuckers, all eyes on me. This is the I Refuse podcast. I'm Mr. Fox, the I Refuse podcast. I cannot believe what I saw, but don't think that when I saw that I didn't believe it. I believed it. So, if this is your first time here to the I Refuse podcast YouTube channel, we have started a Surviving Diddy series over here on the I Refuse podcast YouTube channel, starting with November's announcement last November that shook everybody up and woke everybody up. Started off with the announcement that Cassie filed a $30 million essay, sex trafficking, rape, like a long list of things, for $30 million within 24 hours. Diddy settled it. Since that moment, since the first eyebrow raise, we have been continuing the Surviving Diddy series between here and the podcast, the I Refuse podcast, available on Spotify, Apple, and 6 other platforms, wherever you see podcasts, is through the one of his his property's getting raided, the Lil Ride lawsuit, the one of his sons facing a lawsuit by the stewardess, and the Tyrone Blackburn controversy. We are now up to, in the Surviving Diddy series that are numbered, we're probably up to about 7. And we've covered a lot. And when it comes to Cassie, Mama was the innovator. Truly the innovator that got this ball rolling, not just in her lane, but in the lanes of other women that have been the victim of sexual assault, trafficking, rape, not by just regular dudes, but some high power men. And me being of salt, well, not of earth yet, I'm old enough to remember having lived by way of the culture, music, media, sports, and stuff, to remember little things from shows I watched. But anyway, I have been locked in on this since November. And Cassie, like I said, opened the lane for women to file suits against politicians in New York, women that have long had the same story about other record executives that they've been assaulted by. And now that we're about 4 or 5 months into the new year, it's very clear that what we're seeing since January is lies being exposed, like Cat Williams warned us. And While Cassie got the settlement, things they kind of died down by January, but then by Black History Month, another suit was filed, and then we went through that, and then we had some updates that we would pass along another episode since then, whether here or primarily the podcast over there. It's just like, it's been crazy. Didn't hear a whole lot. Things kind of died down after the raid. People had their theories. And I was just like, okay. Then we kind of moved on to other things. But baby, I woke up Friday morning just like the rest of y'all asses. And I was like, okay, I finally made it to Friday. I got my sleep in. I've kept up with my gym regimen. I'm going to just slide into the weekend. But there is a reason why I usually open every episode like, Ivy's podcast, I was this close to making it to the weekend. Minding my African American business. I always say that. Because this shit, out of everything we've covered, has kept me in a chokehold. Woke up, did my work, was on the bird app. I said, CNN did what? Oh, let me put everything on mute. Let me watch this. Bro, I have seen many hotel room surveillance footage, breaking news type of celebrity little videos. For most of my life. There was a Ravens player that attacked his girlfriend in the elevator. There was Quavo and Sweetie over the console. And more infamously, the Solange versus Beyonce. Solange versus Jay-Z in the elevator after attending the Met Gala. Of course, from that moment, we got 3 classic albums. But, I shake my head like that. But this one here, on top of everything we've discussed on the YouTube channel, reviewing the filings that have been filed against Diddy, I barely survived making it through Cassie's documents. Like, I had to take so many breaks because it was just terrifying and mortifying. One thing I know about Cassie, because, she's a Virgo like me, that we have A1 memory. And we have receipts, we have folders, we have whole filing systems in our heads of every single detail. So this shit's true. That's the first thing. Second thing is, you had no idea. In real time, you had no idea. You would see Ryan Leslie pop up here and there, doing some interviews and stuff, talking about his career, and for the most part, the early half of his career, him and Cassie were associated really early on, and then she did the album and the song and stuff, and she somehow ended up with Diddy. Didn't really pay a whole lot of attention to it. I was probably like 22, 23. But I still look like I'm 23, 22. Don't hate the player, hate the game. Anyway, I'm like, nobody really thought much of it. And we knew that, like, Diddy allegedly was like, had a lot of overlap. But if you had asked me in 2005 or 2004 what the future looked like 20 years from that day, would never guess this. So in the CNN video from 2016, you see what looks like to be, who looks like to be Cassie trying to get down the hallway. Expeditiously, but not obviously. In what looks like yoga pants or, leggings, an oversized jacket, and she seems to have something with her. And she was giving huge frantic energy. She was able to get to the elevator, but not too long after that, you see Diddy coming out of the hotel room in nothing but a towel and water socks or whatever. A lot of a lot of Diddy in towels running out of hotel rooms stories. I think it's Gene, one of his bodyguards that's been making the rounds the last couple of years. Allegedly, when he was at a hotel with, protecting Diddy, there was some commotion in the lobby or near the room, which caused, allegedly, Diddy and Ja Rule to come out the hotel room in their towels. Anyway, Diddy is coming out of the room and down the hall in nothing but a towel. Looked like he had just got out the shower. And he has like a scary energy running down. Like, y'all don't understand, like, body language and nonverbals give off a lot of things. And this was giving off, like, this was a pimp running after a prostitute. It was giving, bitch, where the fuck you going? I didn't tell you you could leave. If you don't give me my money tonight, you'll be out on the streets. Superfly. What I saw after that, I don't ever want to happen to any woman, any person. She did not have time to respond. Clearly, she was trying to get out of there. And this is 2016. They've been together a little over a decade. Now, rewind back to when she filed that suit. Some of us had read the details, like allegedly physically beat on this woman. There were photos, some that she made or some that she was forced to make. Like, throughout their relationship, she was in just about every IG post of his or social media post. And she'd have the shades on and there'd be like a visible bruise, like further down her face, south of the shades. I think they were on a yacht somewhere and she was just kind of turning this way and had like bruising and stuff. I didn't know that then. But like I said, the filing she did back in November, the documents, like in the document, it was just bananas. So to actually see this for myself fucked me up. He grabbed this girl by the back of the hood, hair, head, dragged her to the ground. She is not moving, which to me, I think is a defense mechanism. Similar to when you would be in the woods, camping or whatever with your white friends, and there's a bear in the middle of the fucking night. A lot of us that got our graded school projects back face up, knew that when a bear is near you or a bear look like it's about to make its move, play dead. I think psychologically for Cassie in that moment, she was like, if I play dead, if I don't move, he'll stop. Watching that told me that this is a new normal for her, or a steady normal for her, and to cope with this reality, to see another day, I have to play dead so this man will stop. He is snatching the bag from her, which leads me to believe there was something valuable in there. And again, this is also about power and control. I'll get into that later. Snatches the bag from her, has this stance like, stupid bitch, I'll fucking dare you. There's no audio, so I'm just going off nonverbals, right? And body language. He's like, stupid bitch, what the fuck are you doing? Taking my fucking bag. And proceeds to kick her multiple times on different parts of her body. Now, all of us that have seen a black movie, predominantly black cast, themes, urban themes, such so on and so forth, and there's a plot, a subplot in there that we see physical violence between a man and a woman. That's what that was kind of given. I know that Diddy loves to be dramatic. We've seen the music videos and we've heard the stories and the news from his early part of his career. I'm going to get into that. I was just like, that's not the first time. For it to be the first time, it would be a surprise, right? And with that, when it's more than one time, you realize your position or your situation with this dude, and you're just like, it starts to become commonplace. I feel like this was almost her first successful attempt to get away from this guy. I don't know if this was before or after the alleged Kid Cudi vehicle explosion, allegedly that Diddy did. I think that was also part of it, the filing. But I don't think she named names. But that's what I got watching all of that. And of course, the clip ends. So for me, and I'm talking about Cassie, she is my hero, my heroine. To have the strength, to have the audacity, the bravery to endure, survive, thrive, and to live, to see another day, have a better life, to be the happiest you've ever been for the first time in your life. And step forward with your story and tell your truth. Tell about your experience. And let this be a turning point for folks out here, that it puts a new face on the Me Too movement. First off, for the most obvious thing, this was in my own opinion, a forced relationship between a young lady who is not even of drinking age at the time, and an older, more powerful man who's not only connected to the industry and has his own dark past with how he achieved Bad Boy Records. But he's also connected to the streets by way of his father, who allegedly was a runner for Frank Lucas. So, while part of the coonery and the cornery of it all when it comes to this man pretending to be hard and braggadocious and a hood man and a legitimate rapper, he is connected to some folks, and he's sitting on enough power and impact to make that kind of shit really pop off if he wanted to. How do you think him and people like him back in the day were able to avoid charges? If you go back to an earlier video, we talked about the nightclub shooting in tandem. Not only the J-Lo surviving part and the what was reported that night, but also an update to that story from the woman that was actually shot. I think in the face in the nightclub shooting. She said it wasn't shine. Previous video, we're not here to talk about that right now. It unlocked a lot of things. So, older man, younger woman, that's first. Secondly is all his stuff. Thirdly is the stuff she detailed in the report that influences my perspective and opinion of her. But also, by doing so back in November, this poor girl got a lot of pushback by a lot of women and men that look like me. And it's like, with all these stories out about folks, whether they're famous men or the offspring of famous men, using their position or power through their titles to do shit. Like, when I say non-celebrities, I mean like politicians, known folks like in certain cities and states, and more so record executives, using their power and their position to feel some sense of entitlement to female employees. This particular one, this Cassie Diddy situation, touches a lot of, or checks off a lot of boxes across the different professional areas and dynamics of the stories in the Me Too movement. A young girl, an older man, an artist, her label boss, a really famous, well-known, internationally known person, his longtime paramour. Not A-list celebrity girl, But she's known to some of us out here. Even with all the things that have happened around this person to people associated with his career, primarily from his first major professional job, which was at Uptown, several folks ended up dying under somewhat suspicious circumstances. I mean, they would say it by name, but it's like, y'all, we just saw you last week. A lot of people, even his previous girlfriend, who we'll get into after, at some point. This checks a lot of boxes and opened the door to a lot of conversations and other allegations that makes a lot of people look at record executives that laid the foundation for our childhood for the most part through music and stuff. And who we feel has yet to be exposed that should. So it's like, it's not just happening at movie studios and television sets. It's also happening behind record labels, closed doors of record labels. Like, I don't know why street dudes wait until they have a label to live out their creep fantasies. It's like you own a fucking record label. You got pussy following at your footsteps every time you come out the car. Why do you need to go the route that you do? Allegedly Diddy. Allegedly the mayor of Bali. Allegedly Los Angeles Reed. Why do you feel the need? So, Cassie did the big one. Cassie really set this thing off, like I said earlier. And we thought, okay. I said, and I believed her instantly from the first day. But there were a lot of you, and we've talked about it across the series, Surviving Diddy series, that, aren't A-list, was a name in the 90s, may or may not still be living in a motel room with your husband that you met when he was working as part of, not even the production staff, I think, at Hustle and Flow that you were in. And, you had probably you had one or two more good movies probably after that. Didn't see you after a while. Next thing you know, we see you on the TV One reality show, produced and written and directed by the king of reality. Decide to plug in your compact PCU, plug it in, turn it on, turn on your dial-up modem, put in your AOL CD into your compact Windows NT operating system, do the dial-up, go into one of the chat rooms, put us into a group chat, open the side of your neck to come out against Cassie. And question a lot of things. Nobody in Calabasas, nobody in Cape Cod is even thinking about your room at the Motel 6. Much less your opinions. You had one good movie that was Hustle and Flow, and we don't even know where in the building you were. Because You had Terrence Howard, Taraji P. Henson, that chick from 8 Mile. I didn't watch the whole thing, but and you. Oh, you had Sprung, but that was back when Martin was on TV. That was even long before that. But you haven't had anything in a while. We can't even find you on the directory or the bus line. What are we doing? Oh, well, it's because she pretty. And, that's why it was so easy. I never understand why. Depress the power button on your compact PCU until the whole computer shuts off. And have a good night. I'll be the first one to admit, if you haven't gone back, I did say on the podcast she did kind of eat her up a little bit. But again, Paula Jai hasn't been fly since Friday. And you were a hot ass mess on Carlos King's production over there on TV One, which most people don't get access to unless they pay the second tier of cable. Or a mess over there. You and Golden were always getting into it. That's a whole nother thing for a whole nother day. But this bitch decided to come out of her Motel 6 with her menthol cigarette and speak to the rest of us who ain't been looking for her since we were in middle school. And I'm just like, here we go. And I'm not always on that. It's always one of us. But it's a lot of you motherfuckers out here doing that I feel I should be saying that. Girl, shut up. But it didn't stop there for Cassie. It didn't stop there for her. The stuff kept coming. People were going up for Diddy. People were they trying to take down another black man. It's about time they do. It's about time they do. Because if I'm sick of it, just imagine how exhausted these women that keep catching the blows are dealing with it. Oh, trying to take another black man down, another powerful black man doing his thing. How can she do this? He was, No Way Out was my shit. And nah, he didn't have anything to do with killing Biggie or Tupac. Oh, and all it. Trying to take another black king down. It's about time. And not for nothing, Jaguar Wright, in my eyes, is just like Orlando Brown. You may not make it through the outward appearance and how they're saying it kind of unserious to you to get or read between the lines. Yes, Orlando Brown's an actor. Jaguar Wright is a singer and an artist. And yes, they have the right to go through or, deal with things how they deal with them as people suffering with mental health issues and balancing and grief and trauma and pain to speak and to share their experience with the rest of us. Both of them have lived, and y'all should take it easy a little bit. But yes, there is, I believe, a linear thing that connects them. But nobody rallied around Cassie. I was one of a rare, small number of people that believed her that weren't women. Because details should be the most obvious thing. And I know a lot of black conspiracy theorists don't believe in the federal government and don't believe in the court system and don't believe in, right is right, wrong, leaving it to the, but it's way too much detail to deny. And they had a pretty lengthy relationship. So it made me look back the last 15, 20 years that I've been on this earth to other stories about this man. Not only allegedly cheating his artists and giving out these bunk-ass contracts and benefiting greatly off of the talents of others. That's not to say that the man isn't talented, because the Come and Talk to Me remix by Jodeci, nasty work. The stuff he did for Biggie, nasty work. Crazy producer. Probably one of the most visionary, or was the most visionary. Got so much success rather quickly. Knew his eye and ear for talent in music and productions. Even as early as then. Stories about this man getting into very physical, private altercations with the managers of other artists, that he was featured on the song. And in the music video, did the hook, the chorus, or whatever. Did not like parts of the release cut of the music video, where he and the other artist is on crucifixes and depicted in a scene as the execution of Christ to the cross. Decided, allegedly, to run up into the office of the manager of the other artist with some goons and some big black dudes with a champagne bottle. Was it a champagne bottle or was it a bat? It was something. And repeatedly strike the head and the body, allegedly, and the torso, allegedly, with this thing, leaving this manager all bloody. I mean, like, damn. That's like 1990. Let's see, it was 1996. I had my job by then, so that was 98, 99? As early as then. Like, you're already a solo artist, you're already doing, something, trying to keep the record label, alive after, possibly playing a role in the murder of your flagship artist. I went back to that. And that was before the nightclub shooting. That, Sean allegedly took the fall for it. No, I mean, he took the fall for it. And we thought it was actually him. But then, just as recent as not even a month ago, the woman that was on the receiving end of those shots in that nightclub said Diddy was the one that did it. And to this day, I can't honestly even tell you what it was over and why it needed to happen. So, you got that. And it made me question, what did J-Lo experience? There was a time that in the early part of his career, I'm pretty sure there was overlap then. He was, I guess, primarily known for dating Kim Porter out of nowhere. And I'm pretty sure it was overlap with him dating and being with Misa Hilton Brown, his high school sweetheart. Kim, it was him and Kim after that. And then out of nowhere, he's with J-Lo. And then he runs back to Kim. And they say that overlap with that too, with Kim and Cassie. That's the other thing we're finding out. Overlap with him dating Kim and him being with Cassie. Another thing that came out, from that today is that he will allegedly parade Cassie in front of Kim, allegedly at Kim's place. This is very much giving me on Love and Hip Hop when I got the munchies. My giraffe pussy. Remember on Love and Hip Hop Atlanta when the season that Stevie J and Jocelyn was down. And Mimi had to come up with a storyline outside of this rat bastard and show us, oh, I'm not just a long-suffering, post-celebrity, post-fame, long-term partner of this man while he's going through that part of his life. I also have, a maid service company. Now, see, that came and went. Because, bitch, do you own it or do you work there? And I thought it was more than one bitch that came to the house to clean your house as a married maid. I guess times is hard. And they was just like, okay. I guess Mona was like, okay. Guess we'll do that. Stevie J and probably that 1200 scene arguing to the point that you can see that big ass vein come out of her neck. If you want to be an adult, no. Look like they're about to get fired up in another conversation at the dinner counter. He's sitting at the bar part, facing her, and they're talking, and she has her married maid disinfecting cleaners and shit. And they get into it. Look like they're about to, or look like they're about to go to shift into second gear. And walks Jocelyn. She walks in. Hey, man. I see you got on your maid outfit like you always do. That scene. That's what that was given. That's what I thought about. That's what I thought about. Bitch, I think this train to derail to another station. But this Diddy guy, yo, he has totally like slithered. But him allegedly parading Cassie around Kim, and him forcing Kim allegedly to lick Cassie's tampon. Yeah, one of Kim Porter's best friends, Cola Booth. They say she's crazy as a road missile. And crazy as cat shit. Came forward on social media like everybody else does. But she a full grown ass woman. What we see is not a surprise given how he treated my friend Kim Porter. He flaunted Cassie in Kim's face, using Cassie really against Kim, and raped Kim for years. I'm going to say allegedly for that. What you see in that video is nothing. I remember he tried to get Kim to lick Cassie's tampon using her skin color as a put down. Colorist, misogynistic, abusive, arrogant, narcissistic. Might say psychopathic. No, psychotic. But you ain't Professor X. And I can't remember if this was before or after she had the twins. Kim. Probably was after. No, it could have been before. No! Well, right. On and off with Kim. Had twins by this man. Somehow mysterious and disappeared. And died mysteriously. I think they said pneumonia or cardiac arrest, but how is it of all the people in the world, Diddy was the first person to the house? Trying a little shell shocked in the driveway. So, you act better in public than you do in Raising in the Sun. No tea, no shade. But this adds another layer. Because the way people talk about Kim on studio albums, and I guess in social media posts, still to 2024, he makes a post every year on the anniversary of her passing, and I think on her birthday. Like I follow that shit. Like he really cares for her, really misses her. And then on the Press Play album, you have these little interludes. And you know you're talking about him. And he would have subject matter around being kind of obsessed with her. But nigga, you on and off with her, leaving her for J-Lo, then coming back. Because you need your imagery done. And then bam. Kim ends up pregnant with twins. Still unmarried. And still with this dude. Have the twins. He adopted Albie Shore's son. Albie, think about it. And he has this image of being a family man now. I'm gonna say it like Ike Turner X bitch and what's love got to do with it. When Angela Bassett and Lawrence Fishburne move into the house, she pulls up in the car with the two extra sons and she's like, "Oh, here you a family man now. Well, here you go, family man. Go on with your father." You know, later on she shoots herself. He's had that image for a while. Not doing the music a whole lot that much. Bad Boy isn't as big as it was in 98. And he's a family man now. Leaves Kim Porter once again. Now it's just him and the kids doing those tired-ass Christmas photos. But that's the image, right? This is the image on social media. This is me remembering my longtime girlfriend, never my wife. Went off for most of my life on social media. Even after the raid. I'm out with the twins now. On vacation or coming out of a restaurant. No blue probably. I'm kissing my babies. I'm taking them to school on IG. I'm remembering Kim Porter every year. I'm focused on love, baby. My name is Love. I'm posting pictures with the family on some island somewhere. I said, is it Bali in the comment section? But that's the picture. The sneaky, deceptive shit. All positive on social media and in public. Behind the scenes, I'm rocking and socking them with the ladies. Determined to be the winner. Well, your time is up, Diddy boy. Your time is up. I saw a little tired-ass social media story. I mean, kudos to the production staff for making it seem ominous and doomsday-ish and like the final day is upon you. Taking shots of you praying all around this vacation home on some beach somewhere, playing this music. It's all dark in color. And we sitting outside the bubble, looking in like, oh, this motherfucker know his day in the sun is coming soon. And I think I even heard of TD Jakes, as I like to call them touchdown Jakes, voiceover. I was like, this nigga's still theatrical to the end. Can't act his way out of a Save-A-Lot bag. But you want us to buy into this theatrical, larger-than-life persona. Like he reliving the Victory music video. Or just go down to Manhattan Department of Corrections and turn yourself in. Because we're over it. We're over the bullshit. So fuck that nigga. And anybody that defends him still. Or has. Like, we gotta be honest with ourselves that it's time, instead of coming up with these theories that the Department of Homeland Security didn't go into the house to raid it, they went in there to hide evidence or plant evidence. Because the people that go to the house, his houses for the freak-off parties are well known and know about the cameras or were tipped off about the cameras. And instead of adhering to their own heat and responding to it, they point the authorities to the sources, and you know they're afraid, so they're going to frame them. Let me tell you, even if it's an Airbnb party, it would make no sense for this man to accept fault for other people's shit. But I'm also able to say in the same breath, that if there's one place you want to start, is the source. And yes, Well, I've heard numerous stories from other celebrities that have gone to a party by Diddy and saying it was the most amazing experience. Never took part in any freak offs. It makes you wonder. Maybe he was doing way more partying to the point that he could literally just do that all the time and make money hyping people up and being part of a brand of that and being, Mr. Positivity, Mr. Congeniality. Hey, you gotta wake up and want it, nigga. Buy this new diamond from Zales. And I've listened to Dr. Dre's podcast. No, I'm talking, Ed Lover's podcast, Come On Son, where he talked about that with his wife, Juicy, Fruit Juicy. That's a nickname. Goddamn New York City folks. Will have a nickname from the streets well into their 50s. I'm screaming. But even he has said that he went to one of Diddy's parties, stayed the night. Nobody ever touched him. He never woke up with a white dude sucking his dick. Nothing even remotely similar to the stories you've heard of what had been going on at some of Diddy's parties. Made me think, it's 365 days in a year. Which ones were freak offs and which ones were really good? Like, y'all need to go outside. Y'all with the conspiracy theories, and I'm putting y'all in the same bucket with those that were going against Cassie in defense of Diddy. Two people that you do not know and don't know you. And yes, while the reality is that some people do cry wolf, for a person to have this much detail and told y'all illiterate son of a bitches 8 months ago, almost 8 months ago, what happened to her? Y'all in that same bucket too. Cassie said, hold on. Now for my next trick, we gonna drop this. So there's a couple of things that I've realized after watching the video. And there were some other theories or allegations that came out. Hotels accepting payment to hide or withhold evidence by the perpetrator or the team of the perpetrator. That's a thing. Just like it could be a thing about the Mark Hotel, which we went into detail about on the Usual Suspects podcast, the academic probation episode that came out a couple days before this video. No, actually, it came out yesterday, with the May 16th. But Usual Suspects podcast, academic probation, we talked about the other kinds of hotels they have out here for celebrity men to do their stuff. And even though there are cameras in there are certain places that are set up to be an equally beneficial situation. Somebody out here said that the hotel was allegedly paid, I think, about $50,000 from Diddy or Diddy's team, allegedly, to keep the evidence or hide the evidence or whatever. I don't think Diddy or Diddy's team had it in their card deck that A, Cassie would sue and win a civil lawsuit, Because there are some, what I say sometimes about cases and stuff, I can also say you can, when a person settles as quick as he did, oh, that motherfucker was guilty to me then. Something tells me that she used some of that settlement money to buy back surveillance footage, audio, whatever. And was like, for my second act, for my Renaissance Act 2, this is going to be this is going to be the video anthology era. We're going to drop videos in this era, Renaissance Act 2. You know, we let, Lil Rod do his thing. We let the German yacht stewardess do her thing. We let Zaya Abishai do her thing. And that was cute for a little yang around the house, but Act 2, Renaissance Act 2 is here, and this is the opening track on the video album. There will be more to come. I count on it. I count on it. She may not have got all 30 million, but she got the double-digit millions, I'm sure. And if I know my Virgos, like I know myself, because I'm a Virgo, Cassie and I are a Virgo, she is petty, like me. I endured it as long as I could. I tried to cope with it. People on the outside are probably like, well, why didn't she just leave? It's not easy. Once a person is in your head, especially a person that powerful, it's not easy to leave. And that probably wasn't her first attempt. I wish the elevator was faster. If the elevator in the Empire State Building and the Hancock Tower can get you to the top and the bottom floor in 5 minutes, the hotels should have those same elevators. That wasn't her first time trying to escape. And now that I think about it, that was probably after the Kid Cudi situation. Hell, even if it was before, that motherfucker didn't stop because he's entitled to her. And he's the only one entitled to her and no one else. So, I'm sure there will be more that comes out. More releases. And this is all my opinion and my theory. She is making probably more back if it's her doing the video drops Beyonce style. No announcement. Getting more back from giving those videos to media outlets to prove to y'all that she was truthful. But also I'll be like, look, it's right there. And a lot of people should already be on their second or fourth helping of Crow at this point. You didn't get anything out of bashing this girl and going up for this guy. And you swear on your Costco palette and your microwavable SpaghettiOs that it's an inside job and not this man. And it's like, y'all gotta separate yourselves from the celebrity of it all. And she's doing it in a way that I've never seen before. Not only using her voice to speak her truth, but to also show you her truth. Just think of all the women that are not able to do that. Even if they are an actress, even if they have friends who are, that should be having their backs and contributing to their causes. You never seen anything like this, or I haven't either. And that's like multiple reasons as to why Cassie's my hero. But yeah, that's my theory. I think she is the one responsible for the drops. And look, this is high drama for me. And this is going to be the most prominent example of lies being exposed. Cat Williams said it back in January on the Shay podcast. 2024 is the year that all lies will be exposed. And there's nothing stopping her. She is happy. She is in love. And she has a precious little baby girl. But don't think I'm nothing sweet. I got something for that ass. Also, another thing from that is that word on the street is that I already said the hotel being paid to cover it up. Well, from that, there's another discussion that needs to be had as to the corruption in the hospitality industry. I wish Cassie had listed all the hotels as plaintiffs. She could still sue, do a civil lawsuit against them too. Especially when you think about it, they have footage like this. I don't know if she's a September Virgo or an August Virgo. She's probably a September Virgo. I'm an August Virgo. This is first gear for me. I would have been like, I'm suing the hotels too. Because y'all play a part in this. Y'all held this for $50,000. Y'all didn't speak up when I filed the lawsuit. Oh, okay. We could be built different. But I'm going for all the coin. But yeah, it's very, very dangerous when you think about hotels out west. And this is just my opinion, that's where they're located, that handle in those kind of dealings to cover up sexual assault, rape, murder, domestic abuse, child abuse, animal abuse, elder abuse, shootings, stabbings, child molestation, sex trafficking, sex assault. Because trust and believe, hotels are where pedophiles go, where even those in family and known to family, in cases of a missing child, sometimes the reality is the child isn't missing. The child was sold for some drugs by the mother that's crying on the news. And the man that the child was with raped her, assaulted her, and discarded her body. Also, hotels, like I said, in sex trafficking of children, of attempted sex trafficking, of women that are staying at hotels. They got different, I've seen some on TikTok, different mechanisms that Spanish-speaking migrants over there, and I'm not saying it's just them. It could be anybody. I'm just talking about this specific TikTok. The woman's on the other side of the door in her room, capturing video, and you've probably seen it, of, with her foot on the door, of what looks to be like an extended metal hook, homemade hook kind of thing, that extends down the door, under the door, and is being, and it's trying to get caught on the lock or the jam to undo it by pulling the rubber band part that's on the other end. And on the other side of the door is some Spanish speaking man talking about sorry. And you know, she's fighting with the hook. She's like got her foot on the door and is doing the rubber band like this, like, y'all see this shit? Y'all see this shit? And she pulls on it, and the guy just takes the whole thing and walks off, saying sorry. Shit like that. Like, seeing that and thinking that, with, you know, that being out there, could open the door for a lot of women to sue these hotels. Rightfully so. Because like I said, not these mamas crying on the news about they missing door the whole time you sold it to this man for drugs. Not those women. Not those. To sue and get a nice piece of coin. Because by hiding evidence, you're complicit in the crime. I'm telling y'all need to start throwing yourselves on the sword for shitty people. Because by doing so, it also makes you look like you're shitty. And I say the less shitty people, the better. We already have shitty water. We don't need shitty people. So, she opened the door for that possibly being a thing. I don't think there's a statute of limitations on that. And she's definitely empowered a lot of women. The hotel, when you think about it, if not the back of a truck, a dangerous place. And you know, you think front desk people at these hotels care? If it's a man and a child and no other adults? Now, I'm not saying they should fall knee deep into some bias and some racial shit. That's not always the case. But it's like, what can be done around, you know, that whole kind of thing? Since that, you know, this sort of thing has opened the door for possibly auditing and investigating hotels. Especially ones that are tied to Harvey Weinstein, Graham Cracker. Go to the usual suspects to find out who I call Graham Cracker. And Jeffrey Epstein. They not only just have an island, but there's a hotel, I think, in Toronto or California to accommodate creeps like them, allegedly. She truly an innovator, by no words, you know. And I'm sure there'll be more coming out. I feel like she's not done, if it is indeed her, allegedly, is dropping these videos. And it makes me wonder, will we be back on a regular basis on the YouTube channel covering this as more things develop, because more things will? Absolutely. I just hope that this is a cautionary tale for women. Like, hopefully this inspires you to speak out and get out while you can. You know, not every woman not every woman deserves to be an episode of Snapped or Fatal Attraction or a Lifetime movie. We want more of you over here at the I Refuse podcast. No, even if it gets to a point that you have to pull like a Julia Roberts in Sleeping with the Enemy or J-Lo and Enough. Even if it gets to that point, get out. Get out. But also look into getting as much coin as possible. Because we out here deciding bear or man, and a lot of us are leaning more towards choosing the bear. Especially when we hear about shit like this. I've been talking to you guys for a little bit over an hour. This is probably the longest episode of the Surviving Diddy series over here on the YouTube. You know, over here in the I Refuse podcast, whether it's on the pod or here in the YouTube channel. Because I'm revisiting a lot of things. And I am looking at all the parties involved. And hopefully this inspires further investigation, further charges, further lawsuits. And trust and believe, of the ones that come up, we will possibly do content about those too. I mean, we have covered several lawsuits in the Surviving Diddy series because it's very, very fascinating. In my life, my adult life, I've never seen something of this scale play out in front of me in real time. And it's involving somebody that has musically been part of my life almost 30 years. And for those of you out there, knee deep in this shit of, you need to separate the artist from the personal life. And it's like, at this point, no, we don't. No, we don't. And y'all somehow tried to run a quick one across this and bring up R. Kelly again. Like, how can y'all mute R. Kelly and not Diddy? We've been muting that man for a while. And we're muting R. Kelly. The thing that may make it more unavoidable is that when you look at Puffy, P. Diddy, Love, the Didster, and Robert Kelly, they don't only have a solo career, but they're also producers for other artists. For the most part known. To a slightly lesser degree, we're still surprised at the shit that we've been bopping to that they produced or had a hand in. And it's pretty neck and neck with these two. I mean, Diddy may have a longer rap sheet because he's had a lot of production credit on his Bad Boy artists. And then there's the features and shit. It's going to be hard for a lot of people, but it's like, we cannot. At this point, there's just no separation when there's duplicity. And everything must be revealed. We can drop Robert Kelly from the conversation because that motherfucker's in jail. Probably gonna live the rest of his natural life behind jail. I think he has a 25 to 30 year sentence. But our crosshairs are on Diddy right now. Our crosshairs are on Diddy right now, and they're going to be there for a while. And I believe Cassie's going to be the one to keep that very thing alive. Like, something out here has got to give. At some point, you gotta look in the mirror and be like, you can't defend this shit. Even if that man had a hit right now, this week, the video should shut you up. Have you scratching the back of your head, have you in bed and several comforters with eye covers over your eyes. See, you can physically be blind to some shit, but you gotta face the reality. Like, there's no, at this, when it comes to shit like this, there's no discussion. If that man could be so comfortable and so bold to do that in a hotel hallway, assuming nobody was watching or listening, oh, I best believe it was probably worse behind closed doors. Especially when you add Becky on a piece of glass to it. Some of that white girl or that pink girl. Yeah, that's that had to be hell. Now, it takes less time to just admit to the man in the mirror that you do not like women. You're not on Diddy's payroll. You're not on any of these perpetrators' payroll. And for the most part, dick riding is a female trait. Get up, focus on your job, working your 40 hours a week. Look forward to a TV dinner at the end of your shift every day, just like the rest of us. Stay off the internet, stay off of the dial-up, and live your own raggedy life. Unmoisturized, unkept lives. Because there's no excuse for that. And there's no logic or sense to the shit y'all have been saying out here the last 8 months as we've watched this shit play out in real time. It's giving I eat lead. It's giving I eat school glue. It's giving I live under power lines. It's giving I got all my school assignments graded, handed back to me face down. Like, go outside, get some of that vitamin D from the sun, let things marinate a little bit. Oh, and yes, instead of going to church, go to therapy. Because that's not okay. We're not going to normalize that. And there's nothing that good a person makes to big enough, strong enough, addictive enough to fall on the sword over that for. No. Absolutely not. At the end of the day, once you're shown evidence of some things that you've already been aware of, The argument should stop. And this may put a little bit of pressure on the other people that have filed lawsuits. And I know it's hard for some people not to be callous and not think, oh, it's a money grab or whatever, but it's like, there are a lot of people out here taking black eyes for less money. Free of charge, if you will. As a means of control and power. That's why, it's not easy. Nothing is easy once somebody gets in your mind. And it's like once they get in there and start to abuse it and get into your psyche, then they get to the physical and emotional and sexual part. It's not easy. So put an end to that. Moving forward, anytime you see a woman being abused, whether it's through hotel footage or in a movie or in a play or in a song or in a book or a television show or a miniseries, I don't care how old you are, why didn't she just leave? Oh, boy. No, young women raising men and raising girls and boys and stuff, in addition to the birds and the bees, also throw in there some things to so your kids can avoid being in these kind of situations, whether they are the victim or the perpetrator. Because when I tell you the last 5 or 10 years, the way men react to women that reject them, the way men react to women not paying them any mind, to the way that men react to a woman not interested, that has led to them being murdered, them being stabbed, them being dismembered, them being shot at while in the same car with their boyfriend, them being harassed and stalked and mowed down and ran after. It's time to have those talks with the little boys and little girls. To the boys, that it would be a woman, you are not entitled to anybody. The part of life that you are going to have to understand is rejection is common. You're not always going to get what you seek. You are not always going to land that job. You are not always going to get the house that you want. You're not always going to get the car that you want. You're not always going to get the job that you want. You're not always going to get the woman that you want. Rejection is not a reflection of you. It's just the way that life is. The world does not owe you anything, young boy. Keep your hands and your legs to yourself and take the loss as a blessing. You are not entitled to women, little boy. And to the women, to the little girls, in this life, the women choose the men, not the other way around. You have so much power. You, primarily because you produce life, you run this motherfucker. You run this motherfucker. You are indeed the shit. We're going to take you on some pretty nice summer vacations. So when you become an adult, you're not impressed by somebody's dusty son wanting to take you on a weekend to Seattle. You are cut from a different cloth. You are important. You are incredible. And you deserve as much as you give out. So if you're not feeling the dude, say that. Do not give mixed signals. Do not give mixed messages. Your self-esteem and your self-respect and dignity should not revolve around a man. And if you ever feel like you are in a competitive position or a situation with a man, give him up. Let him know things can go from interested to invisible and unavailable real quickly. And of course there'll be more conversations. But we gotta start incorporating that in the upbringing. You know, on top of the shit that we see in schools, how to avoid being a parent of one of those scoundrels, Mason teachers over phones and shit, and slapping teachers, trying to show off how big and bad you are. Like, we want to avoid our kids being the next episode of Beyond Scared Straight, or the first 48. We want to avoid that. And it starts with the parents. You know, parents, please stop raising your children to be your emotional spouse. Stop dressing them up, expecting them to be the person that left. Mothers, stop looking at your daughters as competition for a dude. Yeah, that's the other thing. If your daughter comes to you, or you have the inkling that your boyfriend, lover, husband, nigga that sleep on the couch is fooling around with your daughter, believe your daughter. If he is abusing your daughter, believe your daughter. Like, that's the other thing, is the uptick lately involving mothers with daughters in the same household as the boyfriend. Story came out recently. The mom had a live-in boyfriend. The daughter made it known that she was being sexually assaulted and sexually abused by the boyfriend, and I believe even became pregnant by the boyfriend. So they shot the girl multiple times and burned her alive, and she's still in critical condition at the local hospital. When I tell you, it's shit like this that adds to the history of how women go all out over some dick. And it's clear that when mothers go to that length, to those kind of lengths, to take out their daughter for the boyfriend, whether they asked or they were, it just seems like they view their daughters as competition. Like, that's some deep level insecurity type shit. And you still are with a sex offender. Like it's deeper than who gets the big piece of chicken, who gets the little piece of chicken, whose plate gets made first. But if you're that kind of mother, I see why some of these kids run away from home. And another thing is when I hear those kind of stories, I can't help but be reminded that maybe Dick should be locked up behind the counter like they do the stuff at CVS and Walmart. Because women are losing their minds and abandoning what it means to be a mother for some dick. When your daughter or your child comes to you and says, your boyfriend has been touching me, has been coming into my room while you've been asleep, trying to fool Allah with me, you take your child and the clothes you have on your back and leave. Like, all of this madness out here, even down to our individual value systems, especially when we have kids in the picture. The way the parents are going out and the way these kids are going out. And how that's reflected in this same, in the statements and the responses people have made on social media, whether famous or regular people like myself, have made against Cassie. Because she's pretty, it can't be that bad. I don't believe any of that. Truly starts at home with the parents. Because you know that's where it really starts. Starts between parent and child. And then when you have, like we've constantly said on the podcast, something about a man getting into power, all the crazy shit that comes out from that. If you would have asked me back in November, had I seen something like this come, because allegations happen every day, right? Some come and go, some get settled quietly, and documents are sealed. But since late last year, up until now, things are starting to gain traction. And it's like, it's gone definitely into a mini-series at this point. Everybody kind of moved on after the raid, went back to their normal lives. Probably thought they weren't going to hear anything else from Cassie. But when you now have evidence, And there's a lot of discussions that need to be had. Like I said, I believe Cassie from day one. Before I even got to the documents, I got to the documents and I struggled real bad. And it was clear a few weeks ago from what that man was posting. Definitely, trying to control and manipulate people's perception. Now you're talking about prayer. You feel the walls, coming in closer on you. I know a civil lawsuit will not lead to any court time or a sentence. But like I say, it's still early. I just wish that the other accusers went with whichever representation Cassie went through and not Tyrone Blackburn. But yet here we are. Surviving Diddy, Part 8. With probably more parts to come later. This has been a doozy. This is Mr. Fox, the I Refuse podcast. Hope you've enjoyed this latest video. I'm going to go to bed and enjoy my weekend. Until next time, go listen to the I Refuse podcast, the same place you get your podcasts. Follow, subscribe to the YouTube channel, the Twitter at I Refuse Podcast, the Instagram at I Refuse Podcast, _between the words. I'm finally coming down from my situation while I was recording the first part of this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Keep supporting and following and show love to the I Refuse podcast. Another amazing podcast and forum by a Black content creator. Also check out The Usual Suspects, the podcast app with my co-host, the Abstract Sagittarius. And check out the I Refuse podcast After Dark if you feel so inclined. Those are for mature audiences. But The Usual Suspects, definitely check out Academic Probation and check out the previous videos on the I Refuse Podcast YouTube channel, especially the Surviving Diddy series, especially the latest one before this video about DJ Academics. There's a lot of stuff that we've been dropping, some details that other people have not discussed yet. And I feel like this definitely won't be the last we hear about Diddy and situations. And this theme of people, places, businesses, corporations protecting those that are predators and perpetrators. When you actually think about some of the stuff I've dropped in this episode, which is exclusive information, hope you walk away with a lot of things to consider. Like the idea that the world is a ghetto and it's a shitty capitalist place that, there is no measure, no line to which people will go to protect their bottom line, protect their most profitable and most successful clients at the hands of women. That's some very scary shit. You think you go into a Hilton and it could very well be a place for trafficking. Like, it looks like that's another hotel. When you think about the money they allegedly got to keep that a secret for so long, it's like, what else could you be hiding for the right price? Some of these hotels. I'm gonna end it here with, I bet y'all asked her to believe Cassie now. It takes a lot of strength to endure and survive and to escape, to see another day, to speak your truth and your experiences. And have the memory to detail and document like, for shit to change, there has to be more people like Cassie. And hopefully what she has been able to do inspires other women to come forward. Whether it's at the hands of a mogul or an executive or a dude that works at the car wash. Fendi, like the bag. This is the I Refuse.